Hi, and welcome to my favorite teachers series. In this series, I will share with you my favorite teachers and their teachings and what I learned so far from them in this lifetime. My biggest fear with this series is I won't be able to do them justice, no matter how eloquently I try to speak, or no matter what I put in these videos. There's just so much more to these wonderful people. So I encourage you, if you're interested in this person and what I'm telling you and what I'm talking about, to do more research, because almost everyone I will mention in these coming videos, including this one, has their own YouTube channel, has books out, and so much more. So do further research after you watch this video, because it's gonna make such a huge difference. I'm so excited to be sharing this with you because this truly changed my life. I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for these people. Either reading their books or doing their meditations or following their teachings somehow, or just watching their programs and their classes and doing the exercises and watching the YouTube videos and all sorts of things. So here we go. Let's start with the first one. And I decided to start today with Kyle Cease. See, we all want the same thing, right? It might seem like we all want different things, but in reality, we all just want to be happy. We just think different things will bring us happiness. Some people think money will bring them happiness. Some people think a certain relationship or a certain person will bring them happiness. And we end up looking for happiness in all the wrong places. What I learned in this life, and it's maybe the most important lesson I've ever learned, is that happiness truly comes from within. You can be happy no matter the circumstances around you. And you can be miserable even in the happiest possible outside situation imaginable. And how you feel inside greatly determines what will happen to you in life. This includes what you believe and how willing you are to look at your beliefs objectively and look at the information you're receiving objectively and actually evaluate it. This includes relationships, because what you learned about relationships in your childhood usually stays with you for the rest of your life. And the search for happiness that comes from within really starts with meditation and being in the moment and being just this moment. And that's one of my favorite lessons from Kyle, is he talks a lot about being this moment and not your past story, not bringing your past story with you. If you think something about yourself that is limiting and you bring that into a situation, you will live through these limits over and over and over again. And if you think of yourself as limitless, you're not bringing that limit with you. For example, let's take somebody who's anxious around people, and this person goes to a party, but because they know they're anxious around people, and they get all shy and don't want to talk to people so much because they brought that story with them. And if that person comes to the party as a limitless possibility, as just this moment, then this person, has the opportunity to be open and be friendly and be warm and be inviting and I don't know what else, but has the chance to have a better time and has the chance not to be their past story. Because the past story is created sometime in childhood when somebody told you something, or you're like this, or you thought something bad about yourself, like you got a bad grade and the teacher looked at you weird, and now you feel dumb and you brought that story, you've been carrying that story with you throughout your whole life. And what happens is every time you relive that story, you reinforce those beliefs. So you have the chance to not be that story anymore. And isn't that wonderful? I think that's the most amazing thing, that we're actually very fluid, and our energy is so easily changed. We can change ourselves so easily and be truly limitless and be whatever it is that we choose to be, not what somebody told us when we were 4 or 5 years old, for example. What Kyle says at his Evolving Out Loud event is that the universe wants to work through you, and the universe wants to play with you, and the universe wants to create through you, through each and every one of us. And what we need to do is to allow that to happen. And by being our past story and holding on tight to our past stories, we are not allowing the universe to actually work through us and create with us. One of the coolest things that Kyle says affected me a lot and actually aided in me creating this YouTube channel and sharing these things with you and sharing, the law of attraction teachings with you, is because he was saying that just start creating. If you have something in you, like you want to write a book, but it's a whole book and you're all thinking, wow, it's such a huge project. Or if I was thinking, oh my god, YouTube is such a huge project, I need to get thousands and thousands, I don't know, a million subscribers right now, I would have never started it. And that's why people a lot of the times don't start on things that would change their life and just be awesome and a lot of fun for them to actually be doing. Like, I wrote a book and I love writing, but I didn't write the book for a long time. It took me like 6 or 7 years to actually come around to writing the book, because I kept putting it off because it seemed so huge. And once I started writing, it just wrote itself. It was so much fun to actually write because I love writing. So if you feel like you have a gift in you, and just start doing, just start creating, right? So Kyle gives this wonderful example on his Evolving Out Loud event that describes perfectly what goes on a lot in my life, and I imagine most people's lives when they start a new thing. So when you turn on the hose, the garden hose that nobody used for several years, let's say, the first water that's gonna come out is gonna be all rusty and black and stuff. So that is your first pages, your first videos, your first songs, whatever it is that you're working on. The first creativity that comes out, the first words that come out if you want to be speaking in public, for example, are kind of not so good, because the rusty water has to come out in order to give way to the clear, fresh water that very soon comes right after that. I myself was pretty scared to be bad at things for some reason for most of my life. Well, actually, I know the reason. It was because of a childhood experience where I wasn't allowed to be bad at things. was supposed to be good at them somehow right away, and that's kind of unrealistic. And I didn't know this, but I grew up with expecting myself to be good at stuff right away, and if I wasn't, I just quit. I would just quit, right? So obviously that did not work out too well. And hearing that from Kyle, that the first water is gonna be rusty anyway, so just get through the first pages, or just get through the first videos, or just get through the first whatever it is, and you'll see clear water. You'll see the universe channeling through you, which is the most amazing feeling, where you're not struggling anymore to write the song or play the music or whatever it is that you're doing. You're just flowing, you're just going with the flow, you're just like the antenna of the universe. Another thing I wanted to say, that between all of my teachers, all of the teachers that I want to talk about on this channel, and including Kyle, the one of the few things completely in common is that they all teach you're just this moment is some variation of it. Like Sadhguru, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, like Eckhart Tolle, and of course Kyle. Everybody says, be in the moment, you're this moment, you're not your past story. So over the years of listening to this, it has finally been drilled into my head, and I really hope the same for you, because we're just a bunch of people on this planet carrying a baggage with us of our past doubts and just useless stuff that we don't need. We can just drop it and be limitless and be, in our creativity all the time and be amazing as we're meant to be. Another thing I learned from Kyle Cease and his Evolving Out Loud event is the phrase, and I love that. So he does this exercise with his participants and guests where he asks them to say something that worries them and an emotion that they're feeling, and then follow it up with, and I love that. And what happens is your emotions, they come up in you because they want to be seen. And as soon as they're seen and they feel loved, they actually go away. I do this now as part of my morning practice when I feel like it. Especially if I'm feeling frustrated with something or annoyed, and I just sit and feel annoyed because the annoyance or the frustration, they just simply want to be seen. And I follow it up with, and I see you and I love you, or I love this. And this really helps pretty much not feel frustrated and annoyed anymore. The third lesson that I'm gonna share with you that I learned from Kyle is deep down. So this was actually from a different event called Deep Down, and what he said is take deep down. Sometimes you say, oh, I'm worried about this, but deep down I know everything is gonna be alright. Or this is really making me angry, but deep down I know, he didn't mean that, or something like that. Well, that deep down is actually in your heart, right? You know this in your heart. And what is worried is your past story. What is angry is your ego. So Kyle says to put deep down is you. So for example, you can say, my ego, I changed this up a bit because my ego feels a bit better to me. I understand what it is and how it works, but I think in his Deep Down series, Kyle actually said the young me or the child me feels, let's say, angry. Or I would say my ego feels angry. And I know without deep down, because you are in your heart, you're living through your heart. And I know that everything is going to be alright. Another one is all the amazing things in life come to you when you let go of things that no longer serve you, things that feel heavy. And the way to know if this thing feels heavy is if you're keeping it in your life, but you have to justify keeping it in your life. For example, and you give yourself excuses for keeping it in your life. Whatever feels heavy, let it go, even if it's scary. And that's it for today. I'm gonna leave you with my... And that's it for today. I'm going to leave you with my favorite quote from Kyle. He said, you are only afraid because you know what you're gonna lose, but you have no idea what you're going to gain. Thank you for watching.